Hi everyone, I've missed you YouTube. Today is the next installment in my A to Z fragrance series. We are up to the letter K, and today for the letter K we have none other than Yves Saint Laurent Kouros. Okay, guys and girls, I am going to talk about Yves Saint Laurent Kouros today. It has legendary status when it comes to masculine fragrances. This fragrance, I'll give you a brief history, was released in 1981, I think. It is classified as an aromatic fougere, and what I'm going to do for this video is not so much a review, only because I haven't worn this enough to feel I can give it a very thorough review. What I will give you is a bit of background in relation to myself and this fragrance, is that up until a couple of weeks ago I had literally never tried this. I may have sprayed it once on a tester strip in a department store, but so long ago I couldn't actually remember what impression it left with me. Now, this bottle I have here, for those of you who are interested, and it's probably important for the purposes of this video, I was lucky enough to buy this expecting that I would be buying a current version of Kouros. When I opened the box, I realized it had silver shoulders, which apparently none of the new current versions have. So it's got silver shoulders and silver base. The ones that come out today, the shoulders are white. So that's the one significant thing about what the bottle and the packaging looks like. I checked the batch code on this on the Check Fresh website, and according to that, the batch code for this particular bottle makes it a 2010 formulation. So my understanding, and doing a bit of reading up, is that this has been reformulated a number of times, and this is different to the current formulation, but also quite nothing like the original formulation when it was first released. Now, anything I talk about with this fragrance today is going to be about this 2010 version, and I'm going to compare it to a decant I have of a current version. So whatever impressions I get, I can't speak to what the old one was like, and if any of you guys have the old formulation of Kouros or earlier formulations of Kouros, please comment and give me your impressions of what you get with this. Now, I've got to say, first off the bat, that I've worn this a couple of times and I am loving it. So I'll say that straight away. I like this fragrance a lot. I really just want to talk about what I'm getting on my skin, compare it to the current formulation, and probably address some of the preconceptions of this fragrance, which probably would have come about the original release from the 80s. So there are a ton of different notes in this. It is mainly known for the fact that there's a distinct civet note, an animalic note, and we'll just go straight to that. When I've read about Kouros, the one thing that gets mentioned a lot is that it's this kind of melding together of clean and dirty fragrances or accords. You know, the dirty, skanky notes like civet. There's oak moss in here, and then there's clean, there's bergamot, there's aldehydes. It's a fougere. Fougeres, like for instance, Yves Saint Laurent's Rive Gauche, I would describe as a clean fragrance, and this has those elements, but blended together with some of those dirty elements. Now, what some of the descriptions used for this fragrance, if you read enough reviews and listen to enough people talk about it, is the public bathroom toilet smell. Now, if the old original release smelled like that, I can understand where they're coming from, because I've been in public bathrooms that have that kind of vibe going on that happens in Kouros, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So I'll spray the 2010 version on this arm and the current version on this arm, and I'll give you some impressions on what I'm picking up first up. So what I'm getting is nice, clean, fresh. It's quite spicy. I think there's coriander in this. There's bergamot, aldehyde. So there's a lightness to it, and it's actually really pleasant. In fact, it's one of the nicest openings I've experienced in my collection. It's a really nice opening. That's the 2010 version. And I'll tell you what I'm picking up in the current version. The citrus, the bergamot, is definitely amped up a lot more in the current version, whereas with the 2010 version, I'll just check the notes. It's definitely 2010 version. To me, the opening is more herbal because there is sage in here as well as artemisia, and I think artemisia is gives off herbally green kind of accord when it's used in fragrance. Current version definitely had more citrus as far as I was concerned, but still a nice opening. And what I've got to say, what I've noticed immediately, the current version is toned down quite significantly just in the couple of minutes since I sprayed it. So I'll just give my nose a rest there, because this type of fragrance it's probably quite easy to get a bit of nose fatigue. What notes that I've made during my wearing of Kouros, particularly the bottle I have here, the 2010 version, is that it's a wonderful, spicy, fresh opening, and then it starts to develop and go into the mids. And what I get mainly in the mids is there's carnation in there, and I'm picking quite a bit of that up, as well as geranium. And just before it reaches what pretty much remains the dry down, I start to get some of the civet, and a combination of the civet and honey. So the crudest way I can describe the civet note here is it's urinal, it's pissy, but because it's combined with honey as well, it's not off-putting. It just adds a little bit of sourness there to counterbalance the sweetness of the honey. And I have to say that stage, just going through the mids and progressing to the final dry down, is the only stage which is not unpleasant, but I enjoy the least of the development of this fragrance. So I can definitely say that the projection on the 2010 version compared to the current version is definitely better, and better meaning that it does project more. I can smell more of it. I actually did one extra spray with the current version on my other arm, just to sort of offset the fact that I'm spraying from a bottle as opposed to a little atomizer. I mean, this is pleasant, but if you're coming to Kouros, I think its reputation precedes it in terms of it being a powerhouse. And the 2010, from my experience wearing it a few times, it's definitely there. It lasts 10 hours at least, and sprays on your chest, I'm smelling it all day, and it's lovely. No one has commented on the fact that I smell, that Kouros is in any way offensive, but also no one's given me any compliments about the way I smell. I've enjoyed wearing it, but certainly I haven't been worried about it offending anybody. So the one big difference again with the opening and the performance is that the current version definitely opens up a bit more citrusy compared to this 2010 version, and it is pleasant in its own way, but immediately it sort of really settles down to a softer kind of projection off your skin compared to the older version. So it probably hasn't dried down to where I'm getting all of that. So it certainly settles down into this musky kind of sweet base, the main players being honey and vanilla, and probably the musk as well a little bit there. And it's just masculine, it's a sensual fragrance, definitely quite versatile, I think. I probably wouldn't use this in really hot weather, but if I think you could get away with it if you're using probably one spray under the chest, and it'd be just perfect. So more of a daytime fragrance for me, because I can't actually picture myself wanting to wear this going out in the evening or for anything formal. It's just I think it's a great casual fragrance. The other thing too is I've always been a bit funny about people using fragrances for the gym when people talk about gym fragrances, because I figure if I'm going to the gym, I'm probably not going to end up smelling very good anyway, and fragrances probably not going to improve that situation too much. But when I think of Kouros, if I'm thinking of a great after gym fragrance to put on after I've showered, this kind of immediately comes to mind. Having said all that, I think it's important that if you've never tried Kouros, what happened with me was that when I tried it, I had all these preconceptions in my mind about what it was going to smell like. It's going to smell like piss and animalic and dirty bathrooms or whatever, and I just kind of sort of braced myself when I first sprayed it on my skin and smelled it, and this is just an amazing, well, probably not amazing, but this is just a very, very surprisingly good, I don't know why I'm surprised, but I've just been really pleasantly surprised by how good this actually is, and there is a reason why it has a very loyal fan base, it seems. I think the current formulation is good, but it's definitely lost something compared even to this last the formulation before it. So like I said, this is a 2010 bottle, but it's markedly different to the current version that I've got on my arm now. So whether that influences whether you get it or not, I don't know, and I'm not sure how difficult or easy it is to find older versions of this. This one that I bought, like I said, I didn't know it was this old, and it was the last bottle I picked up from that I took out of the cabinet at the store that I bought it from. But if you get a chance to try it, definitely do. Don't have any preconceptions about it. It's a great masculine fragrance. It's not going to please everybody that tries it, but for my nose, on my skin, this works really, really well, and it makes me feel very manly. All right, guys, that's been A to Z K Kouros. It's been great to talk to you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.